What is a teenager? It is a person between the ages of 13 and 19 at the stage of personality formation. If small children, in spite of everything, just want to please adults, then teenagers should want something themselves. They need to be motivated, as in any subject, studying English also requires motivation for success. Therefore, when teaching teens, it is necessary to identify and diversify the forms of the lesson so that the students are interested. One of the most effective forms of teaching English is the use of video in the lesson. It is very difficult to acquire communicative competence in a foreign language without being in the country of the language is being studied. Therefore, video comes to the aid of students. Watching video combines all types of speech activities: listening, writing, students write down information while watching, reading their notes, speaking, discussion of what they saw. 10 years ago, there were problems that we could regard as disadvantages of using video in the classroom. Economic, insufficient number and high prices of video courses offered by foreign authors. Low technical equipment of some schools with modern equipment. Technical unreliability of school equipment. Sometimes the equipment does not turn on at the right time. And psychological, that is, the unwillingness of the teachers themselves to morally spend more time and effort on preparing lessons with the use of video. Fortunately, these problems are absent now. As for students, it is no secret that they would rather watch poor quality video than listen to a great sounding audio tape. This is understandable, since in a video recording, the sound is accompanied by an image, which undoubtedly makes it easier to understand, and even if the student did not catch some phrases, remarks, they can guess the content by building logical connections between the pictures. Unfortunately, some colleagues in the classroom do not have a systematic approach to using video. They are used sporadically, as a rule in open lessons to surprise colleagues, although video materials have great opportunities for teaching foreign language. Most teachers use video materials only as a pleasant addition to the monotonous educational process, as a rule in the last lessons in a term, when the marks have already been set, when lessons are shortened on the eve of holidays, or a replacement teacher. Children simply watching videos for entertainment. Students are not offered any preliminary exercises aimed at a further discussion of what they saw. In this case, of course, this is just wasted study time and not an effective means of teaching a language. The advantages of the video include the following facts. With the help of video, an artificial foreign language environment is successfully created, due to which the principle of clarity in teaching is more fully implemented. In educational films, English speech sounds at a fairly fast pace. Dialogues, monologues are presented. Thus, one of the main tasks of teaching oral speech is achieved: improving listening skills. That is, we teach students to understand a foreign language by ear from a single presentation, bringing learning closer to real-life conditions. The video do not only presents different ranges of voices, men, women, children, and lively spoken language sounds. This also characterizes audio recordings. It also reflects the behavior of native speakers of different ages and different social environments in a given situation. Moreover, facial expressions and gestures, in addition to intonation, which again is also present in sound recording, often help to understand the relationship between the characters in the plot. When watching individual fragments of the film, one of the channels of information flow, visual or auditory, can be blocked, thereby, on the one hand, to develop develop the students' language guess, their imagination, probabilistic forecasting mechanisms. On the other hand, to stimulate students' interest in further viewing the recording. Students can see in close-up, for example, individual details of the landscape, signs in shops, facial expressions, gestures, posture, clothes, furnishings. These visual components of a situation can provide an incentive for detailed description and group discussion, orally or in writing. In a video clip, speech is often superimposed on natural interference. The noise of city traffic, rain, a phone call, a knock on the door works in a parallel with TV or radio, music plays, birds singing, the noise of water. That is the maximum approximation of the training video to real life. Musical accompaniment, light and noise effects help on the one hand to express the director's intention of a video plot or film. On the other hand, the creation of interference contributes the development of the so-called noise immunity of perception, which is so necessary in a real communication. Presenting the culture of the people of the target language in action, the video shows the generally accepted ways of speech behavior in formal and informal settings. While watching the video, you can focus the attention of students on certain linguistic moments. That is, the purpose of viewing is a linguistic overview or deepening of knowledge. The video film gives the opportunity to develop students' ability to observe, summarize what they saw, express what they saw in their own words. It is possible to improve the imagination of students since individual cadres can be designed for speculation, building causal logical relationships, and the student's previous experience. Since the perception of the same subjects is different for different students in the group, the stereotype and uniformity of students' statements disappear. Video viewing has been an emotional impact on students. We develop their attention and the volume of long-term memory. Students describe not only the events of the video fragment, but also the feelings, the mood of the characters, their own expression of what they saw. That is, the object given in visual perception is revealed deeper. Emotionally evaluative vocabulary is widely used. From a methodological point of view, the video provides the teacher with the opportunity to creatively plan lessons, using it as a means of increasing motivation for the subject foreign language, as a means of developing productive speech of students, prepared or unprepared. In primary school, we can use videos with songs, mini dialogues and flashcards. But I want to talk about the use of video when working with teenagers. Methodologists argue that the length of time you watch the video should not be equal to the entire duration of the lesson, optimally 5-7 minutes. In a situation where the video is used for a longer time, the passivity of the students is inevitable. Traditionally, video production includes 3 stages: pre-demo, demo, post-demonstration. Pre-demonstration stage. At this stage, the linguistic and linguistic-cultural difficulties of perceiving the text for the video film and the difficulties of understanding its content are removed. New words are introduced and reinforced. Authentic conversational formulas, unusual for trainees, are analyzed. Before viewing the video, it is important for the teacher to interest the students to build predicting horizons. You can offer tasks for anticipation. Work with the title of the film, keywords on the issue rates in the plot, drawing up an histogram, introduction to the topic of the lesson through music or a screensaver to the film. Before watching a video, you can read a text with a similar topic. Then the setting for viewing can be as follows. What is new, interesting, surprising, unusual in the video? Maybe find differences and similarities with printed text. The trainees are offered pre-film guidelines, questions about the content, questions and answers to them to choose the correct option, multiple choice, tasks related to the subsequent retelling of the content, tasks to determine document the sequence or dynamic of behavior and interaction of characters. Assignments to evaluate and characterize characters or important cultural information contained in the film. Demonstration stage. Demonstration of the film should be accompanied by active educational activities of the audience. Students can take notes as the video progresses. The teacher's task is to clearly formulate the communicative task. Watch and what do you want from students? For what purpose you are watching the film? Pay attention only to the theme of the plot, all the details or selective information for understanding. It is better to organize a step-by-step viewing of the film. Students watch a fragment, discuss it, then the next fragment, etc. Because it is difficult for students to retain a large piece of information in their memory. This procedure provides a deeper penetration into the plot of the film, better memorization of the main facts. You can ask students to complete a spreadsheet as they watch a snippet, such as who, where, with whom, for how long, about what, and so on. They distinguish global viewing. You need to understand only the central theme of the film, the situation, the characters. Intensive viewing. All information is important. Do not ignore the details. Selective viewing. Only certain information is snatched from the film, which the teacher pays attention to by setting tasks before viewing. For example, regional information, if any, this scene and characters, relationships between characters, problems that arise in the film. The most common techniques for working with video: presentation of the visual range without sound, silent viewing, that is, turn off the sound. At the same time, only pictures on the screen flicker. Students conjecture the characters' remarks in terms of facial expressions, gestures, movements, the action itself, emotions, situations, even lip movement suggest what is being said. Students guess or predict words and then match them to those they hear while watching with the sound on. Presentation of the sound range without visual previewing. A dark screen. Based on the sound sequence, students make assumptions about the scene of the action, about characters, their age, social status, appearance, postures, facial expressions, gestures. Using the pause button, frozen frame, the teacher stops the recording at the key points in the video recording, asks questions about what has already happened and what is about to happen. The students predict the further plot and compare the forecast with real facts. Synchronous presentation of the sound and visual series, usual watching. They should give the theme of the plot, ask them to guess what they will hear and see. Give the installation of viewing. During viewing, ask to record certain information. Ask questions after viewing, checking the accuracy of the perception of information. Showing excerpts of the video in violation of the logical sequence, jumbled extracts. Ask students to arrange the passages in the correct or probabilistic order. Jigsaw viewing is a puzzle. For example, some students watch an episode without a sound sequence. Others listen to a soundtrack without a visual line, then exchange information and compare it with the original. Or one group sits with their backs to the screen and other facing. Those who watch the fragment retell the plot to those who did not see it, and then they retell back what they heard from the first group. Then all together look again and supplement or correct inaccuracies in the reproduction of the plot. The technique of information gap is used, which is widespread in the communication method. Post-demonstration stage. At this stage, the effectiveness of the trainees' use of the film perception guidelines proposed at the pre-demonstration stage is checked. It is advisable to use question and answer work while involving as many students as possible in the discussion. Role-playing text reproduction, especially dialogues, expansion of the situations of communication shown in the film, the addition, transfer of the situation into the everyday life of the trainees. Teacher instructions may sound like describe, comment on, reproduce the dialogue between, characterize, prove that, explain behavior or reaction of, how would you act if you were. It is advisable to pose problematic questions and open-ended questions in order to provoke students to an initiative speech. Particular attention should be paid to various types of retelling. You can ask students to come up with a background story or a continuation of the film, write a short summary, letter to the editor of the program or the directors of the film. As a matter of fact, when working with video, you can use all the tasks that are suitable for working with any printed text. So, when planning lessons using video materials, the teacher should carefully think over the communication tasks aimed at improving listening skills and developing the speech activity of students. All exercises or discussion of what he saw should be aimed at consolidation, phonetic, grammatical, and lexical material, at working out speech patterns, at developing speaking skills. Only in this case will the video be an effective means of teaching foreign language. And of course, do not forget that the selected video tasks should be interesting and motivating for teenagers. The topic should be relevant and popular for them. And now there are some tips when working with video in the lesson. Always give feedback. Create realistic expectations. Start with the content of the textbook. Goal setting can even be singled out as a separate activity. Let learners talk more. Use innovative technologies. Pay attention to successes. Help the student find intrinsic motivation. Get inspired and inspire.